Doug Maurice, Stephen Means, Nathan Baird, Ohio State, a 31.5 point favorite against Toledo on Saturday night. The over-under is 62.5. Stephen Means, what is your pick for this game?
45-16, Ohio State wins. They haven't gave up a touchdown in a while. I think they'll give up one, but then a bunch of field goals as well, because I think Toledo's got an opportunity here to move the ball a little bit. And as I mentioned earlier, I won't be shocked if there's like some 20, 25-yard run just because they read it well in the read option. I think one of those ends up in a touchdown just because of that. But Ohio State's offense last week put up 40 points against a group of 5 team without Jackson Smith-Njigba and Julian Fleming. If we're expecting both of those guys to be back this week, and this offense continues to progress in the right direction, I assume that they score at least 40 points this week. So 45-16.
So that is under
the
62.5. And that is taking the points with Toledo. You're taking the 31.5. This is quite a pullback from where you were last week when you had Ohio State over 70 against Arkansas State.
Seems like a lesson learned.
But also, I mean, I would have said this anyway, regardless of what happened last week. I just think Toledo was a better team than Arkansas State, and they might challenge Ohio State a little bit more often. But also, yes.
It'll be interesting. This is why betting is dangerous, because the result here might be Toledo is better than Arkansas State, but this is the week that Ohio State scores 70. Like, this is how these things work sometimes, especially if Jackson Smith-Njigba is back. I'm in a similar range of you, Stephen, but I'm actually on the opposite side of both bets. I'm going 52-20, which is over the 62.5 pretty comfortably. And I'm barely given the points. I'm picking Ohio State to win by 32 when they're favored by 31.5. I actually do like the over in this game. I feel like the 31.5 is like right on it. I would sort of stay away from that part of it. I think Toledo's going to score. That if Arkansas State had 4 scoring drives last week, but they all ended in field goals because Ohio State couldn't punch it in, I'm giving them 20 because I'm giving Toledo 4 scoring drives, but I'm going to give them 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So then once you get to the 20, if the over-under is 62.5, it's like, well, do I think Ohio State can score 43 on Toledo? I do. So I like the over a decent amount, but I think it's a convincing win. I think Ohio State looks good, does what they need to do. But I think Toledo competes a little bit, like never in doubt, never in danger, nobody in Ohio Stadium is going to be freaking out. But I think there'll be a couple drives where it's like, hey, you know what? Toledo's got a little something. So 52-20 for me. Nathan Baird, where are you?
Yes, Arkansas State had the 4 drives last week, but they were very much aided by a big special teams penalty, by 2 pass interference calls on one drive, things like that, the big blown play down the sideline. So I think Toledo is better than Arkansas State is. I also think Ohio State will play better than it did against Arkansas State. And it's hard to like bake those sorts of mistakes into how you're predicting a game. So I'm actually in pretty much the same range that Steven was in, but I'm even lower. I'm going to say 41-13 Ohio State. So I'm going to take Toledo on the points, and I'm also going to go under. I think this is a week that, DeQuan Finn can be a problem for Ohio State. But I also think that Toledo has not seen, certainly this year, a defense that does what Ohio State is doing right now, playing downhill, playing aggressive, just kind of relentlessly coming after you and doing it with the kind of athletes that Ohio State has. I think Toledo is going to be pretty solid defensively. I think Ohio State may have to work for some drives the way it did last week. But I think the Jackson Smith-Njigba return, if it happens, also is a recipe for some big plays. So 41-13.
All right. So Stephen and Nathan, both under, both taking the points with Toledo. I'm over, and I'm giving the points with Ohio State barely. Those are our predictions.